Bom dia, Senor Christian.
How you doing, buddy?
What's happening, brother? Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you so
belated.
much. Thank you.
How you feeling today?
A little hungover.
A little rough one, eh?
Yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah.
When you get in your 30s, you can't drink anymore, man. Did you get one night of drinking? You're written off for like 3 days.
Welcome, everybody, to the TUGA, Everything Portuguese Soccer podcast. I'm Mitch Freire.
Christian Ferreira.
And behind us is Toninho Teclas, Senor Adão. None other than. Guys, we have a ton to get to today, between controversy in the world of bola in Portugal with Benfica versus Braga in the quarterfinal of the Taça de Portugal during the week, to transfer deadline day, to the big Classico coming up tomorrow with Sporting versus Porto. Ton to get to. So, without further ado, let's jump right into what's been burning my ass since the midweek Benfica Braga.
So how you feeling, man? The chat
Dude,
was
you know
lit
what,
up.
man? It's starting to get old.
Yeah.
It's honestly starting to get old, man. It's the same shit week in and week out. And it's not just Benfica, man. It's not just Benfica. It's every team is victim of really shitty officiating in the Liga Portugal, man. Like, I don't gajo acaba, like, you don't know anymore what's the criterio for fouls, penalties, red cards. You don't know anymore. Gajo fica sem saber. Like,
and sometimes it's in the same game. Sometimes it's the criteria changes in the game.
Well, okay, so this is the point. So, Alexander Ba is red carded for Benfica. I think it was in the first half.
34th minute, I think, around there.
And it was for a foul on Pizzi. It was in the 30th minute. It was a foul on Pizzi. It was given a yellow card. VAR signals down to the ref to go have a look. He changes the decision to red card. It is 100% legit a red card, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Pizzi's in transition. Ba's cutting across. Pizzi plays a ball. Ba goes to try to cut the pass. He's completely late, but he's studs up and steps on Pizzi's ankle. Could have broken the guy's ankle.
Yeah.
It's a red card, in my opinion. All day, every day of the week. Okay. The problem is, second half, 55th minute, literally 25 minutes later, Rasic for Braga, same play, same type of play. It's right outside Benfica's 18. Arsenal is in transition. Rasic goes to block the pass. He misses the ball. He's late. Steps on Arsenal's ankle. It's the literally carbon copy play. And it's a yellow card. Yeah. And no VAR intervention.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand the criteria. These guys are professionals. I don't understand it. Like, is it because this is where, of course, the corruption talks. These guys being paid off. You don't want to believe that, but are our refs just that fucking bad?
Could be a little bit both, honestly.
Like, António Salvador after the game was like, "Oh, houve três grandes equipas em campo. Benfica, Braga e a equipa de arbitragem." Are you kidding me? Like, buddy, just don't say anything at all. No, seriously. If I'm the president of my team, like, these guys have eyes on their face. If I'm a president, then my team is so visibly favored by bad officiating. I'm not going out there being like, fuck, officiating was great today. I don't understand that, man.
It's like rubbing salt in the wound.
So
what did you think about Rui Costa's coming on doing what he did?
Man, he confronted, if you guys didn't see, there's a video, you can go pull it up online. Rui Costa confronted the ref. I don't like that, personally. And you know what? Rui Costa's had a very good week. We'll talk about a little bit about the week that he had with the Enzo transfer and everything a little bit later. So he's been, very well spoken of, and he's been in a good light lately. That to me is just his emotions getting the better of him. You know what? There's ways, I'm sure, as a president to bring these issues to the table. You want to, file, a formal kind of complaint or whatever. There's ways to do it. We got to get away in Portugal in general with our sport and in the Liga. We got to get away from this stuff. Like, you don't ever see in the Premier League the owner or president of a team confronting a ref about like, you don't see that shit. We got to be better than that, man.
Yeah. And to be fair to Rui Costa, it's sad. It's a sad thing. It's part of the Portuguese culture. Varandas does it.
Exactly.
Salvador, they all do that, and it's sad, but it is part of the culture, and it's a way.
We got to get away from that. We got to be better than that. We got to be classier. If we want to elevate ourselves and be considered, one of the better leagues in Europe and whatnot, like, we got to be better than that in all aspects, and we can't be doing that. We can't be resorting to crowding a ref after the game and just ripping him a new one. I know he was very frustrated, extremely frustrated. I get it, but
yeah, but you're saying when you're in that kind of stature, you're the president of a club.
Yeah, you're the president of the club, man. You gotta elevate yourself. You gotta get yourself out of there. Like, I get it if Rui Pedro Braz or somebody was going in there, Luizão or somebody was going in there, but you're the president, man. You gotta lead by example. You can't be doing that shit. And I know it's easier said than done because your emotions, especially Rui Costa is a Benfiquista, ranhoso, right? Like, yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but you have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
I agree.
But
besides the controversy, what do you think of the game? I thought Benfica handled themselves really well playing a man down.
It was like still a 50-50. Really good game, man. Yeah. Take all the bullshit out of it. It was a really good game. And Benfica, of course, ended up going 2 men down because Muratu ended up getting 2 yellow cards. Yeah. Another controversy. It's hard to. It's a harsh yellow. His second is, to me, a harsh yellow. But
that was already at the end of the game.
It was already at the end of the game. Didn't have a whole lot of influence. Left. But for the most part, Benfica played a man down from the 30th minute onwards, including extra time, and they played very well, man. Hats off to Braga. They also played well, but Benfica playing a man down played really well. I also thought that there was a penalty to be called against Guedes. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it was very similar to the Paulinho penalty in the Sporting Benfica game. And interestingly enough, right? The ref on the field was the ref in the VAR box for the Benfica Sporting game, and he was the one that called the ref to review the Paulinho penalty. Yeah. Yet in that game versus Benfica, he doesn't call the penalty against Guedes.
Criteria is not the same.
Again, what's the criteria, right? Like,
and man, if you go back to like earlier podcasts, I said that at the beginning of the season. There's one of the first games in Sporting. It was the same thing. Their criteria was, let them play, and they're not calling little fouls. And the first thing I said was like, if this is the criteria all across, if it's the same for everybody, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be this one, the criteria is here for this team, it's not. Like, I think as fans, especially fans of the Portuguese league, we just want consistency.
Man, no, fans. Like, obviously the fans, but imagine the players, the coaches. Like, it's frustrating, man. It really is frustrating because as a player, you don't know. You don't know where you stand.
Yeah.
What constitutes a handball? What constitutes a foul in the box? What constitutes a red card? Like, like you say, without that consistency, coaches, players, you're kind of left in the dark, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and that was I mean, we're probably move on from the subject, but that was a big loss for Benfica because now they're out of the. I know
they're out of the Taça de Portugal. They ended up losing. They ended up losing the game in penalty shots. Ausner's missed yet another penalty. That's the second penalty that he missed. Jeez. He missed a penalty against Portimonense shortly after a few weeks back now. But
to be fair to him, though, he shot it well. It was just a nice save. It's not like he blew it past the net or something.
So Benfica ends up losing. The semifinal now sets up Famalicão versus Porto in one semifinal. In the other semifinal, it's Nacional versus Braga, setting up for an all-minute final in the Taça de Portugal. Very likely it'll be Porto versus Braga in the Taça de Portugal final. So we will see what happens there. Moving on to Liga Portugal. big game tomorrow, Christian. Sporting against Porto tomorrow in Estádio do Alvalade. Cidadão, if you can just pull up the standings just so we can have a quick look at what the standings are looking like going into the big Classico tomorrow. Of course, Benfica had a game last week that covered for this week because of their game against Braga. So they're not playing this week. They've already played. They won. So Benfica, of course, sits atop the table with 20 games played, 53 points. Porto in second place, 19 games played, 45 points. Braga, 19 games played, 43 points, sit in third. And Sporting are in fourth place, 19 games played, 38 points. And then Casa Pia rounds out the top five with 19 games played and 30 points, who are also tied with Roca, but Casa Pia has a game in hand on Roca. Vitória de Guimarães also tied with 30. I'm just seeing here. They're in seventh, but they're also on 30 points with 19. So Guimarães could potentially get into that top five, depending on how they do this week. Anyway, Sporting, Porto. What are your thoughts? I'm just going to run through quickly the team's forms. Sporting in their last 5 games, they beat Vizela 2-1. They beat Roca 2-1. They lost to Porto 2-0. They beat Braga 5-0. And then they beat Rio Ave 1-0. So they've been in good form. The only loss came to Porto, which was in the Taça de Portugal.
Liga.
Sorry, was it
the Liga?
Was it the Taça da Liga?
Yeah.
The Taça da Liga. Porto in their last 5 games, 3-0 versus Viseu. They beat, of course, Sporting 2-0, Marítimo 2-0, Vizela 2-0, and again, Viseu 1-0. Now, interestingly enough, Porto have not conceded a goal in 6 games. The last goal they conceded came against Famalicão on January the 15th, and they are unbeaten in 20 matches. They have not lost a game since they lost to Benfica back in October. They are going into this game, Christian, with a bunch of potential injury concerns. Otávio 100% will not be playing for Porto tomorrow. There's also another 6 players that are questionable for tomorrow, which includes Steven Eustáquio, Machado, the center back Fábio Cardoso, left back Wendel, Gabriel Verón, and Ivan Nilsson, who's been in big form for Porto this year. So what are your thoughts on this game, and what do you think Sporting needs to do to try to beat Porto?
Well, for those of you who watched the final that we played Porto, Sporting, I mean, every game is different, but absolutely dominated Porto. Like, it was, to be honest, that was the best Sporting display I've seen this year.
It was in the Taça da Liga game you're talking about.
Yeah. Just completely dominated from the beginning till the end. Adan unfortunately let in a fluke goal, but I mean, we just pressed no. We had posts, we had so many burnt opportunities, and in the second half they didn't even want to play soccer. They just did their Porto thing. But my point being is, we should win. We should win at home. We really, 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 really need to win. We're fighting for a Champions League spot. It's going to be a really important game because Porto wants to catch Benfica. So it's going to be really, really interesting game. I do think Sporting is going to come out on top.
Yeah.
This and the form we have. But the problem with Sporting, though, and it's so frustrating. We'll have a game, like, if you look, this is just jumping right out at me. 5-0 against Braga. But then the next game against Rio Ave, we played so bad. Like, we couldn't get together. Like, we're not up for it. We don't lack consistency. And that's why we are where we are in the standings. But, you know, this year, for these big games, these big derby games, we usually show up. We had a good performance against Benfica. We had a great performance against Porto. We were the better team. And then against Braga, we had back-to-back 5-0 wins. So it's a must-win game for us. And I'm confident about tomorrow.
So one of the big stories, Paulinho will be available for this game. It was a big question whether or not he was going to be suspended for his comments in one of the last games. Was it against Porto?
Yeah, it was against Porto.
It was against Porto.
It's calling the referee corrupt.
Yeah. Corrupt. Cambada de corrupt, I think, or something along those lines is what he said. But he will be available for this game. So the big question is, does Ruben Amorim go with Paulinho up front or Schirmiti? Because Schirmiti scored a goal last game, right? He scored the winning goal
he did,
against
winning
Rio Ave, right? Do you go with Shermiti, the kid, or do you go with Paulinho?
You have to go Shermiti. I
Shermiti.
think if you don't play Shermiti after the performance he had last game, the last few games, it's just going to kill his confidence, man. He's earned his spot.
The Suriana, huh?
Yeah. He's earned his spot. He done well when Paulinho got suspended. Now it's much like when Ronaldo went down for this lesson. He came in, Gonçalo Ramos came in, earned that spot. Now Ronaldo's got to earn his spot again, and it's the same thing with Paulinho. Now it's Shermiti's spot. It's his to lose. So
and it's not like Paulinho's been in fantastic form lately that it's like...
Yeah, but Paulinho's Mourinho's boy, man.
Mourinho's boy, yeah.
Oh, 100%. But
the other big question, of course, you guys had, and we're going to cover this, but Pedro Porro recently transferred. Now you've got a bit of a hole in that right wing back position. Do you go with your boy Ricardo Gaio there, or do you go with the new guy Hector Bellerin?
So for those who have been following the podcast, I am not an Gaio fan.
No, come on, man.
I have bashed this guy so much, almost like Fernando Santos.
Is there any Sporting fan that's a fan of these guys?
No,
is there any?
Really.
I've never heard, never seen, never heard.
Yeah, but I got to give credit where credit's due. The last few games where he's came in, especially the last game, he's had really, really good performances. Yeah. Even in the final against Porto, played so well.
Yeah,
I think again, it's much like Shermiti. You don't take a guy off that's been giving good performance. It's not really fair to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bellerin, he doesn't know the culture yet. He's a new player. I don't think he should start. I honestly, in a way, I don't know if you noticed this, but Porto, when they get a player, a lot of the times they don't play for like 6 or 7 months. They don't even start for 6 or 7 months because they got to be integrated in the team. Maybe not that long, but it's much like that. He's a new player. He doesn't know all the tactics. He doesn't know everything. New player, knew everything. For such a big game, you need an experienced player, and I just hope to God he doesn't pull an guy on us tomorrow and have a bad performance because we need a big game from him. But yeah, that being said, my answer is play his guy. I'm
excited, man. It's actually going to be a really good game. So I'm going to give my possible starting 11 for Porto, what I think Sérgio Conceição is going to line up with, and then you can give your possible starting 11 for Sporting. Okay. So I think Sérgio Conceição, given the potential injuries that he's looking at, I think he's going Diego Costa in net, João Mário at right back, Marcano and Pep in the middle, and Sanusi at left back. Sanusi played against Viseu left back. Normally it would be Wendell, but I think if Wendell is not injured, if Wendell is injured, which it looks like he will be, I think they will go with Sanusi at left back. In the midfield, Pepe on the wing, André Franco and Uribe in the middle. André Franco had a good game against Viseu. I think he scored a goal. I think with Eustáquio out, André Franco could slot in there with Uribe in the middle, and then Galeno on the wing, and then up front. Again, if Ivan Nielsen is injured, I think he goes Martinez and Taremi up front. That's kind of what I see. Again, depending on what the injury situation looks like. But if all of the players that are listed as questionable cannot play, I think that's the potential lineup for Porto tomorrow. And what about the Sporting starting 11?
Yeah. So it'll be much of the same. That's how it's always been. It's going to be Dananet, Nunes, Inácio. Shout out to Inácio. I don't know if you guys seen his last few performances. Mm-hmm. Wow, he's really taken another leap. He's been a little shaky at the beginning, but really finding form. So Inácio, obviously Coach, St. Just. Shout out to St. Just. He has not had a good start with Sporting. Mm-hmm. What's it called? He's been hurt all the time. He'll play 1 or 2 games, get hurt, play 1 or 2 games, get hurt. Finally, knock on wood, he's been being more consistent. Mm-hmm. Great player, big player. So I think it'll be St. Just. You talked about this earlier. Who's the right back? I think it's going to be Gaio. Well, I know that's going to be our weak point. Gaio. In the midfield, Ugarte. Big player. Morita had a big game against Braga.
Big game against Braga, man.
Man of the match.
Scored 2 goals. It was 2 goals.
2 goals, 2 goals. Up front, I played Pot. much of this season, Pot was playing in Morita's spot, and they'd slot Trincão, but Trincão has been out of form this year. So so I'd play Pot, I'd play Shermiti, and I'd play Edwards. That's my
Hey man, you know what? I I honestly think Sporting has a very, very good chance to win this game. I really do.
Yeah.
Port has a lot of injuries right now, and I think Sporting's if they play the way that they did in the Taça da Liga game, and Shermiti brings his shooting boots, this could be Sporting's day.
Are you going to be a Sporting fan tomorrow?
Fuck
There's
yeah,
a thing on sports TV. It's like, or no, it was on Memória de Bola on Instagram. They're like, Sporting just gained millions of fans. It's like with like a Benfica fan. Yeah, because it's a win for us. It's
Sporting all day.
It'd be really
Yeah.
really good for Benfica.
100%. So interesting. Cidadão has a good picture to put up with the Ruben Amorim and Sérgio Conceição duel, which has of course been a good one lately. So Sérgio Conceição has had 5 victories over Ruben Amorim, 4 ties, and Ruben Amorim has taken 3 matches. So it'll be interesting to see these two love going up against each other. It's one of the great Portuguese treinador battles, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again tomorrow.
Probably the 2 top Portuguese
coaches in the world right now. Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, moving right along to some transfer deadline day news. Just a quick recap on what went down on transfer deadline day. Some quick notes. We mentioned Pedro Porro to Tottenham. Christian's heart, I could hear it breaking from all the way over here. Your thoughts on the Pedro Porro to Tottenham deal?
Honestly, I think he's even worth more than 45 million. He's such a special player.
45, right?
Yeah, it's 45. Actually, it ended up being 48. Sporting got a little bit of a bonus. I forgot what the criteria was. It was to get him a little bit earlier. I think the incentive, they gave him an extra 3 million. What a player. Going to leave a huge hole. There's certain players that you see play. I'm sure Benfica has them. I mean, there are those teams, Porto has them, that are just so special that it's only a matter of time before
they leave.
Pedro Porro is one of those players. Honestly, he's not even a Sporting player. I'm gonna go and say this. You guys might not agree with me, but I honestly think he's one of the best right backs in the world. The things that I've seen him do as a right back, he can score goals, he defends, he attacks, he brings so much energy on that right side. I think it was a great sign. But that being said, I don't know if you heard what they were saying about him after the Tottenham game. They lost 4-1 to Leicester.
They lost 4-1 today.
An ex-Tottenham coach literally ripped into him for like 3 minutes. Like, just bashed him. Like, what the hell was Tottenham thinking?
Really?
This guy does not like to defend.
I didn't see that.
This and that. And I think it was a little unfair.
This was today?
I think it was today. I don't know when it was right after the Leicester game. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I just seen it on Instagram. Anyways, he just completely ripped into him, man.
Wow.
Saying, just bashing Tottenham for even making this deal. But
wow.
I thought that was a little harsh. It's his first game. Yes,
yeah.
He probably got. I didn't see it personally. All I heard was his comments, but I'm sure he got eaten up. But it's a new league, new team. He's got to learn that.
Yeah, and it's a very different.
Yeah, I thought it was a little harsh after one game.
It'll take him some time to find his feet for sure. Other big news for Sporting again. Hector Bellerin coming to Sporting. What do you think of this signing? Is this the guy to take Pedro Porro's place or what?
I mean, when I look at his, I think it doesn't matter, but his personal life, he's a questionable guy. But if he's before, obviously things change. Before, when he was at Arsenal and the early days at Barcelona, he was a top right back. 100%. Really, really good player.
Big player.
If he can find form again, if he can be that player he once was, or even like 80% of that player, I think it's going to be a great signing and a great player. Nobody's going to take Porro's shoes. I'm not saying he's that quality, but I mean, he's a very, 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 very fast player. Ruben Amorim, as you know, loves, like, their wing backs for Sporting is the most important position for us because the attack and defend, so much of our play comes through our wing backs. So that pacey, skillful wing back is such an important position for us. So if he can find form, I think it's gonna be a good signing. If not, and we're stuck with this guy, oh, buddy, it'll be a long year, man. But yeah, that being said, I like the signing.
Coitado do homem. All right. Other news, guys. João Cancelo made a surprise loan switch to Bayern Munich. Was it really that surprising? He's been out of favor at City this year with Pep Guardiola. Was this really all that surprising to us that he made the switch?
I think what was surprising is how fast it happened. You know what I mean? And they said, Pep Guardiola and Cancelo came out and said there was no falling out, but there was something there.
Not only was it how fast it happened, the fact that Bayern Munich is paying nothing for this is just wild to me.
Crazy.
And no buyout clause, no, like, how bad did Cancelo want out for this to have taken place?
And he's a top player, man. That's a player that's worth the high 60, 70 millions. You know what I mean? And for them to get a player like that
caliber,
free,
yeah.
But they'll never go and say publicly. There is a falling out there. Cancelo is one of those players that want to play every single game. He hasn't been playing that much, and again, he hasn't really been in the best form too, even in the World Cup. But he's a player that needs to play. And this season, Pep Guardiola sort of switched his tactics up a little bit. They don't play too much with wingbacks.
With wingbacks, yeah.
So
he even tried playing him in a wing position that didn't really work out very well. No.
So I mean, it's good for him. I never want to see a player force an exit like that, have a big falling out. It's just that kind of character.
But a guy that good needs to be playing.
But he needs to be playing.
It's just playing.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm happy that he went to a team like Bayern, and I think it's better for him. But the way it happened, I didn't like how it happened.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. He's already played well.
Yeah.
His first 2 games, he played pretty well for Bayern.
Got an assist.
Got an assist. He got subbed off in the 60th minute today in the game. I didn't see the game. I just saw the note that he got subbed off in the 60th minute. So I don't know if it was to injury or what, but we'll see. We'll see how João Cancelo does over in the Bundesliga. The other big Portuguese signing was Vitinha, Vitor Oliveira, the Braga striker, to Marseille. Surprising? I was surprised.
Yeah, good player.
100%.
You know what? And now Braga, correct me if I'm wrong, is finally getting more recognition outside of Portugal. So for those of you guys don't know, Braga's their rise to being one of the top 4 now in the top 4 in the Portuguese league has come through selling their players to Porto Benfica Sporting. I think this is, I mean, they've done it before with guys like Trincão and like really special players at the time, but it's nice to see that, you know, Braga is actually being watched and like play like Vitinha going for that much money.
32 million euros, man.
It's big for Braga, man.
It's huge. Big. It's huge.
Huge.
It's massive. More Antonio Salvador. So we got a comment here from Sum85. Even Kevin De Bruyne didn't start against Tottenham. Guardiola is going mad. Yeah, no, we all know the famous revolving door that is Manchester City.
Oh wow,
the crazy the Manchester City roulette, man.
Oh.
You have no idea what's gonna come, man.
They might be losing a bunch of points and stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
The
big FA came down on them with a whole bunch of financial misdealings and whatnot that could end up hurting them, and their position could lose some points. Who knows what's going to happen? They're splashing all that cash around, man.
They have a lawyer, not to derail the conversation too much, but they have a lawyer. I don't know if you guys knew this. That's getting paid like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as much as Kevin De Bruyne. So he's that. If he was a player on Manchester City, he'd be the highest paid,
one of the highest paid
player.
There you go.
Next to crazy. So you better win them a case, man. You got to pay that much money. But
it'll be interesting to see how Vitinha does in the French league, though. I'm a big fan of Vitinha. Ever since last year, I thought he should have been at the World Cup with Portugal. I think he's got a big future in the Seleção, so it'll be interesting to see how he does at Marseille.
100%.
The other one, just a small one, Benfica dealt Gil Dias to Stuttgart in Germany. And then, of course, the big Benfica deal that we need to talk about is Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea for a whopping 121 million euros.
Yeah, huge. I got to say this. As a sporting fan, I'm not too sure why so many Benfica fans are sad about this. They're like not content. They're like bitter about this. If I sold a player for 120 million, especially him, like he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He was the best young player in the World Cup. But 120 million, that's buddy. Let him go. I know it's the way he went out, but you guys will take that money and then better your team.
For sure. I think the big issue here really comes down to the fact that Rui Costa wanted to keep Enzo because he has been such an important part of this team. And I think there's a serious dream of us going even further in the Champions League this year and trying to keep him in the squad to obviously not only win the league, but go potentially even farther in Champions League was a key piece. Keeping him was key in order for us to keep that dream alive kind of thing. And I think that's why Rui Costa handled this the way that he did. If Enzo was going to leave, it was going to be for the release clause in his contract and not a penny less. I've always been a fan of Rui Costa, not only as a player, but I always liked him. I liked when he was VP, and since he took over for Vieira, I've been a big fan. Let me tell you, if there was any Benfiquista that had any questions about Rui Costa's ability to be president of this club, this week should have been all of the proof that you need to see that this guy is an all-star. He was an all-star on the field, and he's becoming an all-star in the boardroom. The way that he handled this Enzo transaction and this deal, to me, man, was incredible. He put the team's interests, the team's sporting interests, way ahead of any financial dealings. Why this became so sour is because he structured a deal in which Enzo Fernandez would not have lost a single penny to his contract. So the deal that he put forth to Chelsea was, you guys will pay the 121 million release clause, okay? But essentially, he would discount the transfer fee if Chelsea loaned Enzo back to Benfica for the remainder of the year. And essentially that discounted amount would be the salary that Enzo would have been making playing for Chelsea. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So Enzo literally would not have lost a single penny to be able to play the rest of the season and after next season. And the reason we were so pissed is because if you remember, Enzo actually wasn't supposed to come to Benfica at the beginning of the season because he was playing for River Plate and he wanted to play out the rest of the season with River Plate in the the Libertadores. But because River Plate got eliminated from the Copa de Libertadores when they did, he agreed to go to Benfica. So he was willing to do that for River Plate, but he wasn't willing to do it with Benfica. And Rui Costa structured the deal in a way that he would not have lost a single penny. Because if you listen to the interview that Rui Costa gave, he said, I was a player. I get that Chelsea is willing to offer him a salary that's way beyond our means to be able to pay him. But when I present a deal in front of him that gives him the ability to not lose a single penny, but play out the rest of the season with a club that he's already committed to this year, that's when everything changed. And if you could put it up there, Adam, he made a comment, and there's, it's the first one. Take off the, não é bater no peito quando interessa. Foi aí que tomei a decisão de vender. It's not just slap, because he did this. He scored a goal for Benfica a couple weeks after the year started, and he turned around to the fans and he was hitting the Benfica symbol. It's not just bater aqui o peito quando se interessa. If you really love this club and you're here for the club, what Rui Costa did, you would have taken that in a heartbeat. The fact that he put that deal together to the extent that Enzo and Chelsea were willing to accept it. It was Enzo who didn't.
Well,
he didn't want to be there. And that's when Rui Costa says the second that happened, he could never again wear the Benfica jersey. And he could never walk into the dressing room again.
Well.
So my hat's off to Rui Costa. He did everything to try to keep Enzo in the best interest of Benfica, finances aside. Yeah, man, selling a player for 120 million, that's great, man. But whether we sold him for 120 million now, or whether we sold him for potentially even more, imagine had he stayed. And this is what Rui Costa even explained to him. He goes, Enzo, if you stay, the only offer on the table right now is Chelsea. If you stay and we end up having an amazing Champions League, in the summertime, it's not just going to be Chelsea that's going to be after you. You're going to have a ton of big teams that are going to come at you with big contracts, potentially even bigger than the one you're looking at right now. It was very, very, very short-term vision for Enzo. I don't even think Chelsea's the right club for him to be at. That club has no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Money.
They're just throwing money at people, and there's no sporting strategy there whatsoever. They've got an American owner who understands zip fuck all about Bola, and he's just splashing money around like a fucking maniac. And I hope it goes horribly wrong for Enzo at Chelsea. Let me put it that way. Big ups to Rui Costa. Some comments coming through here. Yeah, I agree, but we are all dreaming. We have to believe. Só falta quem lá está. Benfica tam. You should listen to our new song from the clock. Benfica sonha tanto como eu on YouTube. You'll love it. I'll have to listen to it. No, honestly, we're not gonna miss him. I mean, we will. He was a great player. It's, Chiquinho. As much as I like Chiquinho, I do like Chiquinho. I mean, you can't even put him in the same class as Enzo. He's gonna be missed. He will be missed. But at the end of the day, man, we need players who want to actually be there. So it is what it is, man. All right, guys. Moving right along to Christian's favorite topic. Ronaldo.
Finally.
Ooh, wow. Big poker, man.
About fucking time, man. So what do you think, man? Do you want to explain to the viewers what the RONALDCHUP is?
Well,
I didn't know.
we were watching the highlights, and the guys from Sport TV kept commenting, o ketchup, o ketchup, o ketchup.
Even mayonnaise,
ketchup,
like,
mayonnaise or mostarda, and we're like, what the fuck is? Finally, we realized
what the fuck are they talking about, man?
They were referring to, when you're trying to get the ketchup out, there's a full bottle of ketchup and you're shaking it and nothing's coming out, and then finally you get it to come out and it just pours and it just doesn't stop. We knew that was going to be what happened.
We'll keep it PG.
Well, we knew that was going to be what happened eventually for Ronaldo in Al Nassr. It was only a matter of time before he poked into that vein of goal scoring form. 4 big ones for Ronnie at Al Nassr.
And nice goals, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's playing in the Saudi League, don't get me wrong. But it's not like they were just like little tap-ins or whatever. Like, some of them were big runs, nice shots, weak foot goals.
And I mean, I hear that keeper. Man United's looking at that keeper.
He looks awesome. I love his hairstyle, man. But anyways, that being said, I wish we had a picture of him. Right? Oh no, I know. I thought we weren't ready to.
Should have done. Can you just? I'm gonna give you his name, and if you can just pull up his picture, I'm gonna keep talking, Chris. I'm just gonna look for this.
But yeah, no, it's 4 goals, scored over 500 career club goals already. Like I said, it's nice for him to finally find form. But the one thing I will say, being Ronaldo is not easy, man. Well, in terms of people criticizing him. When he wasn't scoring, you go on social media everybody's bashing him and saying he's washed up and it's time to retire and he can't even score in the Saudi League. Then he goes the next game, scores 4 goals. Oh, it's the Saudi League. He's a sellout. He's literally in a situation where he can't. It's damned if you do and damned if you don't, man. But all that stuff aside, it was really nice to see glimpses of him and the ketchup. Let's see the ketchup bottle come up.
I have different feelings about it.
Here we go. Okay, let's go. Let us have it,
dude. It hurts, man. It hurts to see Ron playing with these in this league with these players. It hurts, man. It's a joke to me.
Yeah,
it's literally a joke. Like, you're happy about him scoring 4 goals. Malares no fosse. Like, I don't know, dude. It's like, who are these guys, man? This guy's name is Abdulkudus Atia. That's the fucking goal he scored 4 goals against, man.
Nice. I like him, man. Keep him in that, man. Oh, there he is.
Estamos aqui a brincar, okay, man. Foda-se.
So I know you guys don't play FIFA, but
estamos aqui a brincar, okay.
Me and the
Ele marcou 4 gols contra esse guarda-redes, and we're sitting here
and you make
happy about it, man.
So you try to make them like the most crazy looking people. So a lot of the guys on pro clubs, they look like this guy, like big froze, weird mustaches. But whatever. He scored 4 goals. It's nice to see.
And it was his 500th league goal. Good for him. Yeah. It's not really something to be proud of. When you scored your 500th goal in the Saudi league, man.
You know what, though? To be fair to him, I'm going to try to be more positive.
I'm sorry. I just can't, man.
I'm going to do the yin and yang thing. I'm going to do the yin and yang thing. Okay? There's a lot of negativity. I get it. You're not wrong. But most players at 38 would have been washed up a long time ago. And to be fair to him, at 38, I know it's hard. I'm a big Ronaldo fan. It hurts to see. But he is so loved there. He is literally a king
loved there. Wherever he went, man.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, in Saudi, they absolutely treat him like a god. He's getting, I know he doesn't need money and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, like, as a retirement, the way to go out, I mean, he's 38 years old. He won pretty much everything that he needed to win. I know, I'm looking at your face. But he won every. It's tough to see, but if you're gonna do something like this, it's at this age and after he won what he won. And again, over 500 club goals he scored against so many big teams, so many big goals. So
you know what he should have done?
What, went to Sporting?
No, he should have went back to Madeira, and he should have played for Nacional.
What? Okay, Mitch, you had me there for a little bit, but now you lost me. You lost me, man.
Go play in the Segunda Divisão in Portugal for Nacional, man. Go play in Madeira. Go back to your roots.
That option is as crazy as the fucking goalie's hair, buddy.
You know what? This guy should replace the Fernando Santos.
Keep that picture. Please keep that. So now you're gonna tell me now. I mean, he scored 4 goals.
Yeah.
Roberto Martinez has to be calling Ronaldo up in March, right?
Yes, but that goes to my point earlier. He doesn't score. He's in a situation now. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Because before he, wasn't scoring too much, and everybody's like, "Oh, does he play now? He scores." He's in a shitty situation. Oh god!
You think Roberto Martinez is going to be flying out to Saudi Arabia to catch some of Ron's games, or what?
It's not even. He cannot score a single. He's going to get called up.
Do you think he's going? Like, is Roberto Martinez flying down to Saudi Arabia to watch some games? Because he's been flying. Let me tell you, he's been exercising his points and whatever credit card he's got at the Federação, man. He's been flying all over the place. He flew all the way to Milan to watch Rafael Leão play against Inter Milan, and Rafael Leão didn't even play. He's been flying everywhere, so I wonder if he's gonna fly to Saudi Arabia to watch some Al Nassr games.
But he's looking at like players, like prospects and stuff. Ronaldo's like a fine wine, you know. You already know what you get.
Fine wine. All right, guys. Moving to our TUGA stars of the week. Christian, start with you. Who's your TUGA star of the week, man?
I'm gonna say it. You want to help me out, Enzo? Okay, I understand it's Saudi League. I understand who we scored on. I understand that in the Saudi League, the team they played is fighting for relegation. Sorry, all those variables I understand. But you score 4 goals in a game after having the last season and a half that he's had, and his 500 scoring over 500 goals, big milestone for me. It has to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Good job,
RONALDCHUP.
RONALDCHUP. Come on,
my
man.
TUGA star is a little different.
What?
I'm gonna go.
Come on, man.
With João Felix, who bagged his first goal for Chelsea today. It was a beautiful goal. We won't say who passed the ball to him, who played the ball to him. Don't want to know.
He got his first assist?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was a beautiful goal. And João Felix had a hell of a game.
You know what's funny, though? How much money did Benfica make off that assist and that one goal from Chelsea? That's what, 240 million?
Yep. No doubt.
Christ, man.
No doubt.
Should have had that meme set up where the guy's crying with money. But yeah.
You know what? To that point, it's incredible to see how well Benfica has done in that respect, and that's something that Benfica is getting a lot of credit for. And I don't know if you heard about this, but Rui Pedro Braz, who's our director of sport, there's a lot of talk about him going to Tottenham. There's a lot of talk about him going to Chelsea. Obviously, you know, our old director of sport was Tiago Pinto. He went to Roma. Yeah. He's now with Roma under Mourinho. And Rui Pedro Braz was his replacement. And now they're talking about Tottenham going Rui Pedro Braz going to Tottenham. I don't know how much influence the director of sport has on these transfers and whatnot. I don't even know really how much influence they have sometimes on actually getting the players. I think the scouting team should really get a lot more credit. I don't know that it was necessarily Tiago Pinto and Rui Pedro Braz that made all this magic happen. So at the end of the day, you know, who found Enzo Fernandez? I don't think it was Rui Pedro Braz that found Enzo Fernandez. It was the scout. It was the Benfica scouts that found them. Yeah. Right. So I think it's a little bit more to do with that. But obviously they have a little bit of influence on, kind of making the deal work. And there was a comment I heard that he's Rui Pedro Braz is the fancy Uber driver because he's the one that always goes and picks up the players at the airport, and he's always the one fucking going and flying and going and grabbing them. Yeah. But it's just interesting to see how in the last 10 years Benfica has not only made so much money, but they've transformed so many superstars out of their club. It's incredible. There's something's going right there at the formação level, and obviously at the scouting level, because not only are we pumping out players at the formação level, but then we're also doing obviously a very good job at scouting players. I mean, look at the return on investment on guys like Darwin, guys like, now.
It's his name, man.
What's that? I just can't fucking. What's his name? Yeah.
You're starting to feel, and I have it on a different level. At least you got paid out. You're starting to feel how I feel when you bring up guys like Shomario, Bruma, all these guys. Every time it's that, like, you're a rat. I can't respect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate it. You know, it leaves like a.
Yeah, but we didn't have at least we didn't have a freaking president that organized the clock to come and beat the shit out of our
here we go.
players,
Okay,
man.
how much time we got?
Like, come on, man. You couldn't keep me at a club long enough.
Yeah, they
either,
faked
man.
that. They deserved it, man. Look where they are now. They're fucking, he knew something. He was ahead of his time, man. You should have gave him more, man. At least make it worth it. Fuck sakes. But that being said, I think I don't know if I showed it and I shared it in the chat. 4 or 3 Portuguese teams in the last 5 years made the most transfer profit in the world.
Yeah.
Benfica is actually ranked number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah. I forgot what Sporting's. I think we're 4.
Yeah.
4 or 5. And Porto is like 9th or 8th. I'm gonna pull it up after, but it's crazy to see.
Let me tell you, man, you're not gonna want to hear this. There's another man that's very responsible for all of that. And you can think what you want about him, but he's done a lot for Portuguese bola, and that's Jorge Mendes. You can say what you want about him, but he is one guy who not only does he bring in some big transfer fees for Portuguese clubs, but I think just in terms of exporting Portuguese talent and spreading this talent around the world and giving our bola a good name, I think he's been a tremendous advocate. You can think what you want. I know there's a lot of people who don't like him, a lot of people who think he's corrupt and this and that. I think he is incredible at what he does, and I think he has done amazing things for the game in Portugal.
For those that don't know, Jorge Mendes to Mitch is what Ronaldo is to me. He's his fucking idol. You have a poster of him on his, like, he fucking loves Jorge Mendes. Yeah. But one thing that sort of is hard to watch or hard to hear, Sporting in the last like 2 years, they've been doing well, like they're good invest, but it was all like coitadinho, like, oh, we're poor, we don't have enough money, and we do this. But it's like you make 270 million in 5 years, and you're saying like, oh, we have no money, we have no this, we have no that. I mean, it's hard to watch, man. It's just don't even say it. Just
the big question is always going to be where's the money going?
Yeah,
right.
And it's frustrating because like Sporting. Yes, we have like a project going, and you can see it. We're building for the future, and we were trying to make strategic transfers. But we have guys, like we have still massive holes that we need to fill. And when they're like, "Oh, we don't have money," we don't have money, but yet we're 4th in the world in transfer profit.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah,
I know for me, it was at least like Benfica, like they're number 1, but they invested heavily in the last. It didn't work the first time. But then the second time around, they invested into their team, and
it's not only the invested into the team as so much as investing in the youth. Like you look at what's been invested in Seychelles. You watch. I don't know if you've seen it yet. The Factory of Dreams on Amazon Prime. Okay. They did that documentary on Benfica and the Factory of Dreams. You see what Benfica has invested into their installações, their grounds, their facilities at the youth level, their scouting. I mean, these are the things that end up when you talk about reinvesting in the team. It's not just so much going and buying players to come in. It's reinvesting at the grassroots level to give the team the ability to find the João Felixes, to find the Antonio Silvas, to find the João Cancelos and the Ruben Dias and the Bernardo Silvas and the Renato Sanches. That is where you're going to get the ROI is investing at that grassroots level. And I think that's where Benfica at this point, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Benfiquista, but I think Benfica has kind of leapfrogged Sporting and Porto in this respect, because it used to be Sporting. Sporting was the one that was the best in terms of talent and turning out these prodigies. And I think now Benfica has kind of well surpassed both Sporting and Porto in that respect, because I think they've done such a good job at investing at that grassroots level. And that's why you're seeing so many young prodigy talents coming out of there, because that's where the kids want to be. It's where they want to be. And I think that's a big difference right now in terms of why Benfica is kind of where they are. This was a project that Vieira started a long time ago, and you can say what you want about Vieira, but that was a vision that he had, was a made in Benfica kind of mentality and made in Seixal mentality. And Rui Costa was also very much behind that. And it's something that the club continues to do. And that's why when you see, Benfica making these big money moves, yeah, it's great, but you also don't see them turning around and going and splashing 50 or 60 million on a replacement for these players. They're taking that money. And yeah, you can always say, oh yeah, the money's going into this pocket or that pocket, whatever. The fact of the matter is they do invest a significant amount back into the grassroots level. And that's why they're able to continue to pump out the young talent that they do.
Well played. And to be fair, though, even Sporting, they are investing a lot into it. Like we spent 25 million on a new ground.
That's right. You guys, yeah.
So we are doing that. What my main point is like the poor me mentality. And that needs to stop, man. That needs to stop. Well, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. Just come out and say we have a project. This is what we're following, and that's it. Don't be like, oh, we have no money. It's like, what do you mean you don't have no fucking money? Yeah, it's fucking 270 million. Where is it? It's gone. It disappears. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I understand there's debts and all that shit, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, when I seen that list, it just left that was like a brick in my stomach.
100%. All right, guys, we're running out of time here. Christian, we'll wrap it up. Final predictions for the big Classico tomorrow. What is your scoreline prediction for Sporting Porto tomorrow?
I think it's gonna be a big game. I think we're gonna win 3-1.
3-1.
3-1. Yeah, it's gonna be 2-1 for a while. They're gonna attack us for him on the counter. It'll be 3-1. We're gonna win.
I'm gonna say 1-0 for Sporting tomorrow. Shirmiti gets the winning goal.
Not a penalty for Porto. Porto's gonna get a penalty, man, for sure. Man. Come on. 0? Come on, man.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in this Saturday afternoon. Have a great weekend. Bon fin de semana. Tchauzinho.
Okay, see ya.